Good morning. Welcome to your early morning intuitive guidance for this lovely Saturday. Well, I'm not sure how lovely it is yet. It's still pitch dark. Thank you, Daylight Savings Time. Anywho, I'm Dr. Bonnie Nussbaum, America's kick-ass coach and psychologist, here with some words to get us rolling today. And I managed so far to soak myself, so if you wonder if I'm drooling down my chin, no, I managed to. Good morning, Trudy. I managed to stick my hand under the faucet in just the exact right way to totally splash myself full of water, but I think it's hopefully not too visible. How do you take ideas from someone who soaks herself in the morning? Anyway, we've got a wonderful card today. Grace card deck again by Cheryl Richardson, and my flip screen is working today, so maybe I'll go buy a lottery ticket. I'm on a roll here. Welcome to the other two of you who have joined me in addition to Trudy. Trudy's the only one who's popping up right now, but I imagine Diane is one of the three, and we'll see who else is here. So this card, the cover of this card is really intriguing, and I actually had to put my glasses on so I could see what I thought I was seeing, which was accurate. So here's the card. Look at that cloud cover, and there's a note or a tablet coming up, and way down on the bottom here, right there, you can see a little bitty person. Little bitty person. You can hardly even see it. Our card is growth. All right? So, I want us to take a little time prepping for this one because I really want this one to connect for everyone. Because this is an old saw I learned many, many years ago, like probably way back as I was heading into graduate school. Good morning, Sarah. Glad you're here. Here is our card. It is called Growth. And if you look closely in the little light spot here, you will see a person. Growth. So, but what I learned at that point was that everything contained lessons. Everything we can choose to learn from anything that happens in our life. And I'm a firm believer in what the card literally says, but there are those people who are not. And so I'll have a little alternative twist to the message for those who are not. But let me see how I want to say this. We all come to our life experiences because we're humans and because we have a cortex and are capable of doing so. We create resistance. Yeah, but what if? I don't know about that. You know, we create this resistance. As little kids, we have much less of that. We're like open, we're sponges, we're soaking up all of what's coming to us. As we get older, not so much. Not so much. We also laugh less, have less movement in our lives, all kinds of other changes that may be indicative of how adulthood could use some modification here, all right? So here's one of the modifications I'd like to propose to us, this growth idea. So a couple of nice deep breaths, letting them go, just opening to receiving the message in whatever way resonates for you, okay? It may not mean the same thing to the person sitting next to you. That is absolutely fine. You process it your way, your way. That's the only way that's valid for you. So here are the words. Growth. Accept the lesson. When things don't go our way, something more important to the growth of our soul is in the works. How about that? Something more important to the growth of our soul is in the works. Think about that. Again, I'm going to go back to little kids here. They want something. They beg, they whine, they carry on, they throw tantrums, whatever they do for that something. You as the parent kind of have a sense of, yeah, that isn't worth it. No, we're not going to do that, whatever it is. This is kind of the same thing on the adult version. We think we know how things ought to go. And when they don't, we kind of get our noses a little out of joint. Sometimes we even pout. But this is saying that the divine power that is greater than us, that is all-knowing, has an idea for us that we're not yet ready to conceive of. So what we think ought to happen doesn't happen, and when we can be in that position of, okay, this or something better. And in this case, obviously, it's going to be the something better because this didn't happen. So this is also a tool for developing patience. When you have the belief that this or something better is coming along, you're much more willing to wait and see what unfolds if indeed what you had wanted to unfold does not. Okay? So here's where I go in for the doubters or the naysayers, or many people don't believe that there's a divine right order to things, that there is a power greater than ourselves that's influencing our lessons. So to those people, what I would say is you have nothing to lose by believing that there's something to learn from every situation in your life, right? The only time I think we lose is when we're whining, complaining, arguing with what is, wanting things to be different than they are. And that doesn't mean that we're not open to change. But when we're demanding that it not be the way it is, we're not in reality. We're not in reality. We're trying to create some fantasy over which we have limited power. The power that we do have is in acknowledging what is, accepting what is for the moment because it is what it is, and then moving forward, making our plans, setting ourselves up so that things can unfold in a different way. So let me give you an example. If I'm whining, complaining, pissing, and moaning about my job because it isn't fulfilling or enjoyable or monetarily productive or whatever it is that we don't like about our job, it shouldn't be this way, argue, bitter, tainting the work environment for everybody. Or we can go, yeah, this is what it is right now. I'm making X dollars an hour. I really want to be making Y dollars an hour. I am working, 10 hours a day. I'd really like to be working 8 hours a day. I'm, whatever it is, you're acknowledging what is. Then, and what can I do about this? What can I do about this? I can continue to rail against the darkness, or I can light a light. Maybe I'll take some classes. Maybe I will talk to the boss about a raise. Maybe I will see if it's okay if I move my desk over here instead of over here so that I'm not having to listen to so-and-so. Whatever it is, there can be changes that can be made that can influence your satisfaction. Some of those changes, like if you decide you're going to go back to school, get additional training, whatever, are going to take some time, some earth time. But again, every time you slide toward this is terrible, horrible, awful, and I'm doing something about it. I'm doing what I can do to influence this. I could also quit and go somewhere else if I wanted. I have choices. I'm making choices. Languaging that helps you not feel stuck, okay? I have choices. I can stay here. I can continue to be crabby the way I am. I can stay here and make the most of it and see what I can learn, keep my eyes open, be applying elsewhere, taking classes, whatever. I can quit and go do something else. I have options. Yeah, but the only one of them seems like a reasonable option. I have options. I always have options, especially including how I want to think about this. That's huge, all right? Accept the lesson. When things don't go our way, something more important to the growth of our soul is in the works. And I have a little sticker on my monitor. My whole monitor is surrounded by thought-provoking ideas. And this one is, I choose to release all anticipatory maneuvering that interferes with my or others' soul's evolution. And so it is. I have this I foreseeing what's coming. I can see the train wreck before the train wreck happens. And so I was constantly trying to get people to see, hey, this train wreck's coming, let's do something about it. Many people don't see that. I think we all have this ability if we choose to develop it, but many people don't see it, and they don't really appreciate when I'm trying to say, hey, the train wreck's coming. Sometimes, for some people, the train wreck must happen. That is their way of learning. It's important for the growth of their soul. Who am I to muck around with that? So I may take a shot or two at, would you be willing to listen to my thoughts on this? And maybe we can make some changes. If no, then no. All right, so the train wreck's going to happen. I personally am going to line myself up so that I'm not in the crash zone as best as possible. But if your train needs to crash, your train needs to crash. So be it. I bless you on your way. The accepting of the lesson, I think that's an interesting piece too, because oftentimes there are layers and layers and layers of lessons in a particular circumstance. So we may have our eyes open and glean the initial lesson, but miss the corollary lessons that go along with it. We're not keeping our eyes open enough to see, yeah, there's layers of lessons here, and I can benefit from picking up on all of them. So what I'd like you to do for your homework is I want you to think about a circumstance in your life that is not going the way you were hoping it was going to go. Just think of one. There may be multiple. Just think of one. And I want you to breathe into it. I want you to check where in your body do you hold information about that circumstance. Is your chest tight? Are your hands in fists? Are your shoulders up? Where in your body do you hold information about that circumstance? Breathe right there. This is, keep breathing, I'm going to talk. This is Pema Chodron's idea of ventilating that circumstance, filling it up with air. It's kind of like when you blow up a balloon. When you have the balloon small, it's not, you can't see through it, can you? When you blow it up, it's much easier to see through it. So that's what we're doing here. You've had this circumstance, whatever it is, that isn't quite going the way you would like it to. When the balloon's not blowing up, you can't really see into it. Now, blowing it up, ventilating it, you're going to see an opacity coming to things that you can begin to see through. Okay? There's lessons here for you. So I want you to just blow that up, ventilate it, and be curious. Just be curious. What's the lesson here? What's a lesson I'm meant to take from this? And oftentimes it's lessons we don't want to hear. Too bad. Take it anyway. Because I think for our own personal growth, some of those lessons we most don't want to hear, la 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 la, are the ones that serve us the best. See if you can take that in right now. Just breathing into that. What's the lesson here for you at this time? Just allow it. You may roll your eyes, that's okay, but allow it anyway. Allow it anyway. And then ask yourself, and what do I want to do with this new information? With this lesson I've been gifted, what do I want to do with that? Might I change how I interact with the people involved? Might I change my beliefs about this? Instead of telling myself, this is terrible, horrible, awful situation, I'm going to tell myself, this is a growth edge. This is a place where I am being invited to grow. How can I transcend this circumstance and grow more into the person I'm meant to be? Mess around with it today. Pick it up a couple of times and chew on it, see what you get, set it back down, maybe you journal a little bit on it. Take some time with it. See what you notice. But that is our card for today. Growth. Growth. Love those clouds. That is just awesome. All right. Have a great day. We'll see you again tomorrow. Remember, you're capable of far more than you think you are, including growth, by being willing to look at what am I meant to learn from this. Bye-bye.